What's up, everybody? I'm back with a new reaction video from Lady Decade. It's been a minute since I did one of her videos, but here's one about the new Xbox CEO. Apparently, some other information came out about her, not necessarily insidious, but definitely not a good look in terms of being a CEO of Xbox. But before I continue, please follow Lady Decade on her channel. Follow my channel, Talkative Carl, on YouTube and Twitch as I stream games, react to videos, and review content. And please do me a huge favor and smash that like button if you're enjoying the content that I'm providing. Please leave a comment as well. And without further ado, let's check out the info on the new CEO.
The Xbox CEO drama just got worse. Xbox has only just appointed a new girl boss CEO, and she is already receiving a fake gamer girl backlash. Let's be clear for a moment though, if you had to describe the ideal candidate to lead the recovery of a gaming brand that has spent 2 years in freefall, who would you picture? Someone with a deep understanding of the creative medium, or would you picture a grocery delivery app executive who opened her first Xbox account just 5 weeks before she started the job? As we now know, Microsoft chose to appoint the former head of a grocery delivery app, and some of the claims she has made about her connection to gaming have raised eyebrows. To many observers, those statements feel exaggerated at best and unconvincing at worst. So, today, let's take a closer look at the claims that she has made, why many people believe those claims do not hold up under scrutiny, and whether those inconsistencies raise legitimate concerns about her suitability for the role. This is not about personal attacks or identity, it's about credibility, transparency, and whether the person running one of the biggest gaming brands in the world genuinely understands the audience that she's now responsible for. I am Lady Decade. If you like your gaming industry coverage honest and unfiltered, then hit that subscribe button, because today we are going to go through exactly who Asha Sharma is, what the community found when they started looking at what she has actually said in response to the backlash, and why those responses have made things worse rather than better. The AAA business side of gaming continues to spiral down into all new levels of slop and shamelessness, but not everything in gaming is a disaster right now, even if it feels that way. Use my links below to get 34% off the newly released Resident Evil Requiem, 47% off Storage Hunter Simulator, yeah, that really is a thing, as well as up to 90% off thousands of modern releases. Every purchase supports this channel, and if you really love what I do, my behind-the-scenes cosplay library and more are over on my Lady Decade Patreon. Right, let's get into it.
What's up, gamers? Bryn here. Have you ever been eliminated in a game because you were just too late to the trigger? Well,
on the 19th of February 2026, Asha Sharma posted on X to open up her tenure as CEO of Microsoft Gaming. Her post read, "Today I begin my role as CEO of Xbox. Here are my 3 commitments: great games, the return of Xbox, and the future of play." She made these 3 commitments clean, polished, and immediately before anything else had happened. But expectedly, the community started asking a very basic question: who is this person? And the more people looked, the more uncomfortable the answer became. So let us start with the biography, because you deserve the full picture. Asha Sharma holds a business degree from the University of Minnesota's Carlson School of Management. Between 2011 and 2013, she worked at Microsoft in marketing. She then co-founded Porch, an insurance and home services company where she led engineering, sales, and operations. After that, she moved to Meta, where she spent 4 years as head of product across Messenger and Instagram Direct. She was then appointed Chief Operating Officer at Instacart, the grocery delivery and pickup platform, from 2021 to 2024, where she managed product, design, data science, marketing, operations, customer support, and new business lines. She returned to Microsoft in 2024 as president of the Core AI product division. In that role, her job was specifically to oversee the teams and technologies that power AI across Microsoft and its enterprise customers, spanning Azure AI Foundry, Azure Open AI Service, Azure Machine Learning, Azure AI Services, and the full tool chains for building and deploying AI applications.
I mean, nobody's denying the fact that she's brilliant, specifically towards like marketing, and obviously has some knowledge within the AI, world. But the problem is, how does that correlate with running a gaming company? Sure, maybe because there are some certain games that uses AI in as a tool for certain things. Some taking it to its further extreme with that tool, but I digress. But she doesn't have a background in games. There's an issue. It's like you don't even know if like she truly had played more than maybe 2 games in her entire life. I could be wrong. But as I mentioned on the first day when it was announced that she's going to be taking over Xbox, I made a point in a different video, like throw her into the pool and see if she swims. Because like give her some kind of games that and see how well does she adapts. Like some Call of Duty or some Marvel Rivals or something like that, and see like how her reaction timing is or whatever, and see how intuitive she is in terms of playing a game. Because now games are created equal, but gamers, after a few minutes, they tend to like ease their way into whatever game they're playing. May not, polished or perfect, but like you tend to figure it out just on like a baseline level. And I doubt, and that takes like years of playing games, a variety of games. She, like I said, has probably only played maybe a couple of games in her entire life. So and no, you don't even necessarily, you don't necessarily need to be like a super gamer in order to run a gaming company. But if you look at like most past game people who are head of these gaming companies, a lot of them have a deep knowledge of games they played in their youth. And just like throwing out like Super Mario and call it a day, that doesn't, that's not gonna really cut it. Yeah, that's basic. Like, gamers tend to at least rattle off at least 5 games off the top of their head that are vastly different from each other. That isn't Super Mario or Sonic. I doubt she can like really like do something like that without some assistance.
Satya Nadella described her in the announcement as someone who brings deep experience building and growing platforms, aligning business models to long-term value and operating at global scale. That is the biography, and I want you to notice what is in it and what is not. On the surface, it is an impressive record of operational leadership across platform businesses and, most recently, the heart of Microsoft's AI infrastructure. What is not in it is a single thing related to video games, not one.
She's probably only, in my opinion, she seems like she's best suited for running the AI marketing or like AI division for maybe Microsoft, but not the entire company in and of itself. Because she hasn't even worked in a gaming company before, even on like something as minor as management. I ain't talking about like internship. I'm talking about like you were like management. You was in these like rooms, putting in your 2 cents or even calling the shots for at least a year to at least fundamentally know your way around. This is like vastly different from marketing grocery products with Instacart or something like that. It's like vastly different. You could probably be head of marketing of Microsoft. You're very good at it. You have plenty of credentials for that. But like doesn't really correlate with running the entire company with different divisions beyond just marketing. It's like getting the person who's good at marketing running your D&D division. Oh, sorry, R&D division. It's like they know how to sell the product, but they don't know how to make the product. If you catch my drift.
role, not one project, not a single moment in her career where the question being asked was whether a creative risk was worth taking. She's never greenlit a game. She's never protected a studio. She has never sat in a room and argued that something weird and uncommercial and artistically strange deserved to exist. This woman previously had no connections to the game industry. She is a complete outsider. Now, Pure Xbox, in their coverage of the announcement, said they were willing her to succeed and wished her the best of luck. The typical access media approach to women like this, in one sentence: generous, optimistic, carefully non-confrontational.
I hate to say this because she seems like a decent woman and clearly very successful and clearly very intelligent. But it just seems like, I'm sorry to put it this way, she is a token woman. It just looks good on paper and in front of the cameras that we got a woman of color running a business. And the same thing with Nintendo very recently. They got like a woman running the business. It's like I'm not sure what the credentials of that other lady is, but maybe she has at least some knowledge in the gaming space. This woman right here does not. This Sharma woman. Sharma, her last name is Sharma. Asha Sharma. Only reason I even remember because her last name almost sounds like shawarma. But it's like her lack of knowledge in working with gaming development world is it's a glaring problem, and you're putting this poor woman in a line of fire, knowing she's ill prepared and ill equipped to run the entire business. She is, like I said, she seems more equipped to run the marketing division or the AI division of a gaming company. That is it. That's where her forte is. But I don't know. You setting her up for a disaster, and I don't think that's fair to this woman because, she just probably glad that she got chosen. But I'm pretty sure she's like maybe going to put in the work and try to do the best she can. So I'm not. Ultimately, it's really no shade on the woman itself. The people who brought her in, knowing full well that she will be receiving like a good portion of the backlash. Because her face is everywhere now.
In order not to upset any corporate advertising revenue, and almost completely useless to the audience that actually needs to understand what this appointment means. As for myself and my coverage, I'm going to try to be a bit more useful than that today. So in order to do that, let us talk about what happened when she arrived on social media, because I think it is one of the most revealing parts of this entire story. Within hours of the announcement, Sharma was active on X, very active. She posted at the Xbox accounts, she posted at Game Studios, she dropped a Claire Obscure Expedition 33 GIF on Phil Spencer's page. She said she was looking forward to gathering wood in Age of Empires. She engaged in what looked like warm, enthusiastic, gamer-flavoured back and forth with fans and creators, and then she shared her gamer tag. And of course, the community looked it up because that is what the community does. Her first achievement was unlocked on the 15th of January 2026. That is 5 weeks before she was announced as CEO. The achievement was called Your Journey Begins from Halo, the Master Chief Collection, which, given the circumstances, might be the most unintentionally perfect achievement name in the history of the platform. Since that date, the account recorded activity across 30 titles. A significant proportion of the points were earned in short narrative walking simulators, so Firewatch, Gone Home, A Short Hike, and Townscraper. One account noted she had achieved 100% completion in several of them. She logged over 40 hours in a single week in Bull X Pit, and she accumulated roughly 10,000 gamer score in just 5 weeks. Now, for those who do not spend time in the achievement hunting community, let me explain exactly why that profile raised immediate red flags. Short narrative games, walking simulators in particular, are the fastest and most efficient path to building a gamer score without genuine long-term investment in the medium. They take 2 to 3 hours to complete and carry 200 to 300 points each. Pairing that approach with multiple games completed on the same date, which was also flagged in the community, creates a pattern that does not look like someone who has been gaming for years and is just Picking up where they left off, it looks like someone who needed a credible-looking profile quickly and found the most efficient way to build one. Pirate_Nation on X called her the Concorde of CEOs after she went quiet following the backlash. China Pulse summarised the community's findings plainly. The account looked preset by Microsoft, a PR account.
This all could have been avoided if they would just look into getting a CEO that actually has some gaming history in their background. These simulators, like, obviously not gonna cut it. It might as well just been like playing Super Mario for like a few times a week the past few weeks before you got brought on board. And she is getting roasted. And honestly, she didn't ask for this. She was, obviously hired for a job. She's very good at what she knows. But they could have just... I'm pretty sure there's other people who not only as smart as she is in terms of like marketing and what have you, but also has experience working in the game development type of space for more than like a year. Then they wouldn't be getting roasted as much as they have been lately. And we need like the photographs of the people who greenlit her hire, because somebody had to make the choice and say, yeah, she's the one. They're the ones should be getting most of the backlash, not this poor woman, because she just accepted a job, a good, well-paying job, high-profile job, another notch in her belt kind of thing. She didn't ask for this backlash. I give her kudos for not like going on Twitter and calling people incels or chuds or anything like that. She just like, I'm not even going to engage. Thank you for not, playing that same game like, certain other people like, Erika Ishii or Rachel Zegler kind of thing. Just like, hopefully like, you will like do something to alter our perspective. But for right now, as it stands, this is not a good look. And this poor woman is getting roasted on these platforms unnecessarily, in my opinion.
To show gamers that she plays games or understands them. And Permaband put together a detailed thread laying out the specific anomalies. The first achievement dated on the 15th of January. Multiple achievements from different games unlocked on the same date, suggesting non-organic grinding, 100% completion in games that take under 4 hours to complete, and over 40 hours in a single game in a single week, during a period when she was also, in theory, preparing to take on one of the most demanding executive roles in the technology industry. As one commenter on the thread asked, how does the future CEO of Xbox have this much time to rapidly complete so many different games at once in such a short span? If the playtime is genuine, it raises questions about priorities. If it is not genuine, it raises much bigger questions about honesty. Either answer is a problem, and then came the bot accusations.
I have a question.
You can ask me anything.
This is the part of the story that the Access media has been the most determined to dismiss as fringe conspiracy thinking, and I want to make very clear why it is not, and why the people raising it are applying reasonable logic to the available evidence rather than behaving irrationally. Multiple people across X began noticing that Sharma's replies had a texture that felt processed. Smooth, consistently on message and free of the kind of spontaneous roughness that characterises how real human beings actually speak when they are engaging informally online. Smash JT, who runs a gaming commentary channel, was one of the first to raise the concern publicly. He posted a thread recounting how he had responded in detail to her request for people's top 3 games, giving an extensive and personal answer, and her reply came back with what he described as a very weird automated quality. Sharma responded to Smash's rather retro picks, responding, "Great list. I did my top 3 in another reply. Halo, Valheim, and 007. It's been a long time since I played Chrono Trigger. Have you done every ending? Thanks for all the details. I appreciate it a ton." And this is where the skepticism becomes understandable rather than conspiratorial. Chrono Trigger is not a casual name drop in the way Halo or 007 might be. It is a 1995 Super Nintendo RPG developed by Squaresoft that requires a significant time investment, a tolerance for turn-based systems, and an understanding of its New Game Plus structure to even become aware that multiple endings exist. You don't stumble into that knowledge by accident. The game's branching conclusions are tied to specific trigger points, timing of boss encounters and repeat playthroughs, something that most players never discover without either finishing the game or deliberately researching it. For someone whose public gaming history appears heavily weighted towards modern mainstream titles, the sudden perfectly timed reference to Chrono Trigger's multiple endings reads less like lived familiarity and more like someone repeating a well-known trivia point about a critically acclaimed classic. That doesn't prove deception, but it does explain why people felt the response carried the tone of something curated rather than remembered. The issue here is not whether she is a woman in gaming, and it's not about gatekeeping who is or is not allowed to play games. The issue is authenticity. When a newly appointed executive suddenly presents herself as deeply embedded in gaming culture, fluent in niche references and organically engaged with long-time players, people will naturally compare that to performance, to the available evidence of her professional history. If the persona feels newly assembled, strategically curated and unusually polished, skepticism is not misogyny. It's a pattern recognition. In an industry already wary of corporate image management, audiences are highly sensitive to what feels like marketing cosplay rather than lived experience. So no wonder so many people are already writing off this exec as a compulsive liar and a faker. Smash AT flagged the exchange with the bizarrely behaving executive as AI-like. He then asked her directly about AI transparency at Microsoft and received no response. And it was after that specific exchange, according to his account, that she stopped replying to people entirely and went silent for 2 days. Lunduke Journal was direct in posting about her account. This is an AI bot. The new Xbox CEO is using an AI bot to post "Make Me Look Like a Gamer" posts on X. Not surprising, as she was previously working on AI. Vet Gaming TV pointed out that her X account had been created in January 2021 but had zero activity until the week of the announcement, when suddenly 31 posts appeared in quick succession. Grums connected the dots most directly. Xbox CEO using AI for her replies. She is the person who formerly led the development of AI enterprises at Microsoft. Which one is more likely? And Madcap412 added a point that I think landed hard with a lot of people: the fact that she was in charge of Messenger and Instagram Direct at Meta, where AI-powered reply suggestions and bot infrastructure are embedded throughout the product, meaning that she's spent years surrounded by exactly this kind of technology. She is not naive about what it can do. She's not someone who stumbled into a world where AI-assisted communication exists. She built it. She ran it. She knows precisely how it works and what it sounds like. Now, I do want to be precise here, and I do want to be fair. I'm not telling you that I can prove that her posts are AI generated, because obviously I can't, and I'm not going to claim something that I cannot verify. But what I am saying is that the suspicion is not irrational. It is the product of a large independent community all noticing the same patterns in the same posts and drawing the same conclusions. And when the most relevant professional fact about the person at the centre of that suspicion is that she spent her last 2 years building Microsoft Copilot, if there is a professional on Earth for whom using AI-assisted communications would be the most natural, the most habitual, the most operationally unremarkable choice, it is the person who built the tool. The dots are there, the community is just connecting them, and that's not paranoia, that is pattern recognition applied to available evidence by people who are very good at pattern recognition. There's no smoke without fire. That's not a conspiracy, it's not how logic works. So how did she respond to all of this? Well, she responded in 2 ways, and I think both of them are worth examining carefully. The first response was to the AI.
Welcome to Top Heroes. It all starts with a small fire. No
Allegations directly. Someone accused her of being AI or having her accounts run by AI, and her reply, beep boop beep boop. That's it. That's the full response to a serious, widespread, substantive community concern about whether the head of Xbox is actually communicating with the community or deploying the very product she spent 2 years building to simulate doing so. A joke, a chirpy internet reference designed to make the question look silly rather than to answer it, and gaming journalists called it playful. They called it charming. One outlet ran the headline, Xbox CEO Asher Sharma admits using a shared Xbox account, denies using AI for social media posts, as though the denial itself settles the matter. The frustration from parts of the gaming community stems from tone and not from humour itself. Gamers are not humorless, nor are they capable of recognising a light remark. The issue is proportionality. When a substantial number of people are raising a specific evidence-based concern about authenticity and transparency, responding with a breezy quip can feel less like engagement and more like deflection. In communities built on long memories, technical literacy, and years of watching corporate messaging evolve, That kind of response reads as patronising and not playful. It suggests that the audience is expected to accept reassurance at face value rather than being treated as being capable of critical thought. It doesn't settle a matter. A denial from a person being accused of using AI expressed in a reply that the community believes may itself have been written by AI is not a resolution to this insulting situation. The second response was to the gamertag scrutiny, and this one is actually more revealing because she chose to be direct rather than jokey. When IGN's Ryan McCaffrey, who suggested she might benefit from having someone knowledgeable nearby to help her navigate the community, raised the concern, she replied, "I agree. Faking would be a terrible idea and wouldn't work. I also didn't expect my gamertag to blow up, and the reality is more boring. I created it recently to learn and understand this world. I've played with my family, and it's a shared home account across devices, which you can see in the range of games and achievements. Fix that this weekend, and everyone is only playing on their own gamertags. But I get where this is coming from. I don't pretend to be the best gamer, and even though I'm playing, that's still not my goal. My focus is to make Xbox the best place to play, return to our roots, ship great things, and become stronger for the future. And yes, I am indeed writing my own posts." Quite, which is why the Chrono Trigger moment lingers. You cannot lightly reference one of the most beloved, mechanically complex RPGs of the 1990s and then describe yourself as newly entering the space to understand this world without people noticing the tension. Oh, please. Gamers may argue about everything under the sun, but they're not stupid, like this dense biatch is appearing to be in these social media exchanges. Still, the question is not about skill level. The question, as one ex-user called Nib put it, is about credibility and honesty. She arrived on social media performing as a gamer, asking people their top 3 games, dropping franchise references, posting GIFs from critically beloved titles. The tweet is not about whether she needs to be a gamer, it's about the credibility of the persona that she was actively peddling to a community that can tell the difference. But yeah, there is still one more thing that I want to pull apart because it has not received nearly enough attention in the mainstream coverage. Mr_Rebs_ put together a thread on X revealing something about the appointment that adds a dimension beyond the gamertag and bot accusations. He noted that Sharma, upon becoming CEO, immediately promoted Craig Sincada to Xbox's new chief of staff. And the connection between them is specific. Sharma's first role at Microsoft was in marketing between 2011 and 2013. Sincada was also at Microsoft during that exact window. Both left Microsoft in 2013. Sharma launched Porch. Sincada followed. He later returned to Microsoft in 2016, eventually becoming General Manager for Cloud and AI Communications from 2022 to 2026. Sharma became President of Core AI in 2024. Sincada was GM of AI Communications during that same period. Sharma becomes CEO of Xbox. Sincada becomes Chief of Staff. You scratch my back, I scratch yours. That's the phrase that Rebs Gaming used, and I think it is the right one. What this tells you is that this appointment does not look just like a corporate outsider parachuting into gaming. It looks like a specific network of people connected at Microsoft's AI division, consolidating control over a major part of the company. That's worth knowing. The Access Media is not going to tell you that because connecting those dots requires saying something uncomfortable about how this industry operates. And speaking of the Access Media, I want to spend a moment on the coverage of this story specifically because it deserves to be called out. The framing adopted by the mainstream gaming press has been almost universally that the community is being unfair. And I want to be precise about why that framing is a problem. It's not that it's wrong to acknowledge that you don't need to be the world's best gamer to run a gaming company effectively. That is technically true. It is that the coverage has systematically misrepresented what the actual concern is. The concern is not skill level, the concern is a total absence of any relationship at all with the creative medium at any point in a 20-year career, a gamertag that did not exist before January, social media behaviour that a large portion of the community independently assessed as non-human, and an immediate elevation of a personal contact to Chief of Staff within days of starting the job. That's not gatekeeping, that is reading the situation as an informed consumer. And calling it toxic is not journalism, it is reputation management on behalf of the company that these outlets depend on for access. So here is where I land on all of this. Asha Sharma may prove us wrong. She may surround herself with people who genuinely understand this medium and give them real authority. She may take creative risks.
Okay, that's on. I forgot. Yeah, if she surrounds herself with people that do have years of experience working in a gaming company, that would help. But only time will tell if she heeds those kind of warning signs from them, or she just choose not to listen and let the chips fall where they may, against his favor, or her favor. I'm sorry, because it's like, yeah, right now you're getting backlash where they could have been easily avoided if they gotten somebody with, just from the basic level of Google searches, you can see him or her with an extensive history when it comes to video games. Not just playing them, but working in those spaces. Even for like a bare minimum of a year, then it's like, yeah, people won't be thinking like too crazy about it.
She may protect studios rather than close them. That is possible. And I'm not going to tell you it is impossible before a single real decision has been made on her watch, but the evidence that is available to us right now, and it is only fair to assess the evidence we have rather than the evidence we wish we had, does not give us confidence. A 5-week-old gamer tag created to learn and understand this world, a social media presence that the community has broadly and independently assessed as managed rather than genuine, a beep, boop, beep, boop instead of a direct answer, an immediate chief of staff appointment drawn from her personal AI division network, a biography built entirely on operational platform scaling with no creative entertainment experience anywhere in it, and a press corps calling any of this a valid concern only if they can frame it as coming from irrational gatekeepers rather than engaged consumers asking entirely reasonable things. We asked you a question, Asher. We asked it clearly and we asked it publicly. Not whether you can play games or whether your gamer score is high enough, but whether you are actually the person communicating with us or whether the platform you just spent 2 years building is doing it for you. Whether the gamer tag you showed us as proof of your relationship with this community was built honestly or built to manage our perception, whether the appointment of your former colleague to chief of staff on day 1 of your tenure is a coincidence or a signal of how this leadership is going to work. Those are not unfair questions. Those are the questions of an audience that has been let down enough times to stop accepting reassurances at face value. We are watching, and we're not going to stop until we get answers that are actually answered, rather than emoji responses and press releases and access to media coverage telling us to be grateful you are here at all. This isn't harassment, it is scrutiny. And when you lead Xbox, you don't get to borrow credibility, you earn it. And right now what people are asking for is not charm or carefully calibrated social media posts, they are asking for clarity. If you are who you say you are, if this is genuine, then answer plainly and let the facts stand on their own. Because the gaming community may be passionate, argumentative and occasionally chaotic, but it does know when it's being managed, and it doesn't like it. Use my links below to get 34.
Yeah, I mean, like I say it again, these people who hired her knew exactly her background was, and they went with it anyway. They didn't take a moment to stop and think, maybe we need someone who knows their way in the gaming spaces. But what I believe, this is just an assumption, but I believe not only did they hire her to, seem like a token woman, but also I think she probably won't be the one to rock any boats and just allow, to a certain extent, the Microsoft team, who's filled with probably a bunch of activists, and just let them do whatever without worrying about be deemed as like as a negative, like, oh my god, how dare you. Like, maybe that's the case. She's like the part of the get along gang and not really say what she really thinks and have the metaphorical balls to tell them, like, no, this is dumb, don't greenlit this, take a little bit more time with this, this is a man, this is a woman kind of thing, so let's try to avoid them doing the opposite. But that's not who they got. They got someone that's gonna just be like, less confrontational, less likely. Because if it was a guy, not like a beta one, trust and believe there will be some moving and shaking real quick, like really quick, before the week I mean, well, I won't say before the week is out, but definitely within like 2 week time frame, he's already getting rid of DEI class offices, and going back to making like men in games handsome, rugged, like badasses that gets the girl. But no, I doubt like certain people that's like within Microsoft, excuse me, wouldn't allow someone like that running things, because they can't get away with certain things if they do. It's like shooting themselves in the foot. But it could be wrong. Maybe she kind of playing them, and within like a couple of months' time, she's making changes for the better. But we'll have to see. But anyway, I will see you guys a little bit later. Get back to playing some games really quick. Leave a comment below. Let me know what you guys think about the new CEO of Xbox. What are chances she'll turn things around? I'm curious to know. Anyway, pardon the slight dozing off here and there. Like, been up all day, handling business. So it's like, want to make sure I get some videos done and out the way. But I will see you guys in a little bit. Booted up my Xbox, speaking of which. So stay tuned. Take care.